to go to your chat box now. So we'll just have a quick review of everything that we did discuss. So I hope everyone is already on the chat box. Ayan. So let's exercise our brains this early morning. So everybody on the chat box, and then I'm looking at the chat box right now. So okay, which lipoprotein is the least dense? Which lipoprotein is the least dense? Okay, mabibilis. Okay, that's correct. That is your chylomicrons, correct. Which of the lipoproteins, on the other hand, is the most dense? Most dense. Okay, I can see alpha, HDL, HDL. Okay, correct. HDL. That is your HDL. Your HDL is also known as your what? HDL is also known as your alpha lipoproteins. Okay. On the other hand, what lipoprotein carries your exogenous triglyceride? Exogenous triglyceride. Okay, that is your CM or your chylomicrons, correct? Tama, chylomicrons. What is the major apolipoprotein seen in your chylomicrons? What is the major apolipoprotein seen in your chylomicrons? Okay, ApoB48, correct. ApoB48, correct, correct. Okay. What about endogenous triglyceride? What lipoprotein carries your endogenous triglyceride? Ay, napindot ko. Okay, that is your VLDL. Okay. That is your VLDL. Okay. What about your good cholesterol? What is the major what is the other name for your good cholesterol? That is your HDL or your alpha lipoprotein. Okay, correct. And last but not the least, what about the bad cholesterol? Bad cholesterol is your LDL. Correct. Ayan. So, good, good. Okay. So, those things that we discussed last time, your chylomicrons, your VLDL, LDL, and even your HDL, those are considered to be the major lipoproteins. Okay? Those are considered to be, number one, the major lipoprotein, and also the normal lipoprotein. Now, we're going to talk about some of the minor lipoproteins in the body that is related with your lipids and lipoprotein. So, here we have your IDL, which is your intermediate density lipoprotein. So you already know that this is the lipoprotein in between VLDL and LDL. We also have here your LPA or your lipoprotein A, your LPX lipoprotein, and your beta VLDL. Okay? Your beta VLDL. Sir, mali ka po. It should be pre-beta kasi pre-beta po si VLDL. I'm not wrong. So really, that is beta lipoprotein. Okay? That is beta lipoprotein. So let's start with the first one, which is your intermediate density lipoprotein. So your VLDL, your IDL is also known as your VLDL remnants. Okay? It is also known as your VLDL remnants because upon the digestion or upon the catabolism of your VLDL through your lipase, okay, through your lipoprotein lipase, your VLDL will be broken into its simpler, smaller form, which is your intermediate density lipoprotein, before it becomes now your your LDL, which will be carrying now your cholesterol. So please do remember that in type 3 hyperlipoproteinemia, according to Fredrickson classification, your intermediate density lipoprotein is the one that is increased. This is your dis beta lipoprotein or broad beta disease. Okay, your broad beta disease. So concentration of IDL also contribute to the development of CHD or chronic heart diseases. Okay, chronic heart disease. So please take note. Okay, everyone. Later, as we move along with our discussion, I will be showing to you the Fredrickson classification. So, and I will be teaching you how you can memorize it better as well. Okay? So that is your intermediate density lipoprotein. Again, all questions will be entertained by the end of the discussion. So let's move on to your LPA. Your LPA is actually a pre-beta lipoprotein, a VLDL. It's just that uh, um, uh, your lipoprotein A is an LDL lipoprotein-like particle. So an increased lipoprotein A confers increased risk of premature coronary heart disease and stroke. Okay? So again, your lipoprotein A is the sinking pre-beta lipoprotein. Sir, paano po matatandaan na sinking pre-beta lipoprotein? When we are talking about weather, when we are talking about meteorology, LPA means low pressure area. So yun yung tatandaan nyo, low pressure area. Your lipoprotein A is low kasi sinking pre-beta lipoprotein siya. Okay? So, low pressure area, lipoprotein A is low kasi sinking pre-beta lipoprotein. Okay? So, hopefully that helps in your memorization. It is a VLDL, okay? It is a VLDL but LDL siya, but LDL like particle yung activity niya. Okay? Sir, bakit po natawag siya na sinking pre-beta lipoprotein? During electrophoresis, it will migrate in the pre-beta region, but during centrifugation, it doesn't have the same buoyancy as the VLDL. Pero ang point is that it sinks during ultra centrifugation. So again, lipoprotein A, low pressure area, you're sinking pre-beta lipoprotein. Again, disclaimer, the low pressure area is not the definition of your LPA. It's just my way of memorizing that your lipoprotein A is the sinking beta lipoprotein. Okay? Sinking pre-beta lipoprotein. Moving forward, let's go to your LPX lipoprotein. Your LPX lipoprotein is seen in two diseases. Okay? One is obstructive biliary disease, and the other one is your LCAT deficiency. Okay? LCAT deficiency. So, LCAT deficiency is your lecithin cholesterol acyltransferase. Okay? So, I think it was mentioned na rin last meeting. So, LPX is seen in your obstructive biliary disease and your LCAT deficiency. At the same time, its formation is associated as well with high level of hepatic cholesterol synthesis. Okay? Hepatic cholesterol synthesis. So, LPX, lipoprotein for obstructive biliary disease and LCAT. As you can see, guys, these minor lipoproteins are usually very much in the observable in disease state. Okay? So, gaya nga nung sabi ko kanina, your normal lipoproteins are just the four. Your Kylo, your LDL, VLDL, and your HDL. Okay? So, moving forward now, let's go to your beta VLDL. Okay? Your beta VLDL. So your beta VLDL is also known as your floating beta lipoprotein. Okay? Your floating beta lipoprotein. So originally, guys, your VLDL will actually migrate in the pre-beta region. Okay? In the pre-beta region. But this time, because of diseases, okay, because of certain conditions, this VLDL is observed to be floating and observed to be migrating in the beta region, okay, in the beta region. So, of course, guys, on Friday, we will be discussing there the different types of specimen and actually anticoagulant that needs to be used for in the collection of the specimen, specifically take for example for lipoprotein. And ngayon pa lang, I just want you guys to take down note that when it comes to lipoprotein ultracentrifugation and electrophoresis, the anticoagulant of choice that we are using is actually your EDTA. Okay, we are using your EDTA. So your EDTA is very important. Why? Because some of your anticoagulants such as your heparin, okay, affects, okay, again, your heparin affects the electrophoretic mobility of your lipoprotein. Again, your heparin, okay, your heparin, they your heparin, they will affect the electrophoretic mobility of your the electrophoretic mobility of your lipoproteins. That's why I'm saying that kasi baka you're thinking that baka po may mali lang kaya doon siya sa beta VLD, sa beta region siya nag-migrate. But in reality, a this is actually a VLDL that migrated on the beta region, okay? Where all things are all things with regards to the collection of blood was taken into consideration. So, your beta VLDL accumulates in type 3 hyperlipoproteinemia and uptake of cholesterol, okay? Uptake of cholesterol ester reach beta VLDL by macrophages induces the foam cell formation, which I will be discussing later when I reach your atherosclerosis. Okay? So those are the minor lipoproteins. So now we'll go to the metabolism of your lipoprotein. How are these lipoproteins metabolized? Not only these minor lipoproteins, but all, okay? All of the lipoproteins that we did discuss since last Monday. So let's start. Okay. So, with regards to lipoprotein metabolism, there are actually four major lipoprotein metabolism. One is your lipid absorption. Secondly is your exogenous pathway. Third is your endogenous pathway. And last but definitely not the least is your reverse cholesterol transport pathway. So let's start with the first one. So the first one is your lipid absorption. Okay, so lipid absorption specifically within your intestinal lumen. Okay, so in digestion, dietary lipids are converted first to amphipathic lipids. So what do we mean by amphipathic lipids? Amphipathic lipids does have both the hydrophobic and the hydrophilic region. Okay? So during digestion, your dietary lipids are first converted to amphipathic lipids. Okay? So amphipathic lipids form a micelles rather, in your intestinal lumen. Okay? Your micelles in your intestinal lumen where it will be helping in the absorption of your lipids. Okay? In the absorption of your lipids. So of course, obviously, the hydrophilic region are in the outside and the hydrophobic region are in the inside of that lipid um, micelles. Okay? So this they come into contact with your microvillus membranes in your intestinal mucosal cell where they are being absorbed, okay? Where they are being absorbed. So I'll just discuss the metabolism first and then explain it to you later through our graphics, okay? So in the exogenous pathway, so I hope you all know that in the exogenous pathway, the main, okay? I want you to put in your notes which lipoprotein is the main transporter in that particular pathway. In this case, in the exogenous pathway, one which one is the main transporter? It is your chylomicrons, okay? It is your chylomicrons. So your chylomicrons interact with your proteoglycans on the surface of your capillaries in various tissues in your circulation. So this free fatty acid and glycerol from the hydrolysis of triglyceride by lipoprotein lipase can now be taken up by your chylomicron, your can now be taken up by your liver. So please do remember that chylomicrons, okay? Chylomicrons is number one, the main lipoprotein in the exogenous pathway. And secondly, it is the carrier molecule for your exogenous triglyceride, okay? Your exogenous triglyceride. After your ang goal ni chylomicrons is to deliver your exogenous triglyceride that has been absorbed, okay? So after it has been absorbed in your intestinal mucosa, it will now be carried by your chylomicrons. So remember that your chylomicrons will now start to carry that into your liver. It will now start to deliver your exogenous triglyceride into your liver for processing, okay? Into your liver for processing. So now, okay, that it is in your liver, okay, now that it is in your liver, what will happen now is your endogenous pathway, okay? Your endogenous pathway. Remember that in endogenous pathway, the main carrier here are your VLDL and your LDL. What happened is that your VLDL loses its core lipids, okay, causing dissociation and transfer of apolipoproteins and phospholipids to other lipoprotein particles. Okay, to other lipoprotein particles. So remember that during this time, your your endogenous pathway, your endogenous triglyceride is being carried by your VLDL. And now during this time, your VLDL will now be converted to your VLDL remnants, also known as your intermediate density lipoprotein, which can be further transformed, excuse me, which can be further transformed by lipolysis into your LDL. So again, ano yung enzyme for lipolysis? It's your lipoprotein lipase, okay? Your lipoprotein lipase. So your VLDL will be converted to its VLDL remnants or your IDL and then further transformed into your LDL. Okay? So half of the VLDL, please remember this, half of the VLDL is converted into becoming your low density lipoprotein. Okay? And this low density lipoprotein will now be carrying cholesterol, okay? Cholesterol from the liver going into your peripheral tissues. Okay? Again, going to your peripheral tissues. Please do remember that um, reminder that it is taken up as VLDL remnants by your liver remnant receptor. So what do I mean by that? The IDL, okay, the IDL that we were discussing a while back, are being metabolized and taken up by our liver after LDL conversion. Okay? After LDL conversion. So lastly, okay? Lastly is your reverse cholesterol transport pathway. Okay? Your reverse cholesterol transport pathway. So anong ginagawa ni HDL dito? Your HDL is the main player here. So it is the only player in this particular pathway. So your HDL removes excess cholesterol from the cell. So imagine kapag may sobra, okay, if there are some sobra in your peripheral tissue, it will be reabsorbed by your HDL. And remember again, with regards to the shape of HDL, that is very important. From discoid, it will become your spherical HDL. So here, okay, I am showing to you guys a diagram. This is taken from your bishop. As you can see, I want you to follow along with my laser pointer. So your dietary lipids, okay, your dietary lipids once again. So we'll just be converting all the words into a picture. And I want you to listen carefully and I want you to review the pathway this way so that even without the alam niyo yun, I don't need you guys to memorize the words verbatim. I need you to understand the concept and I don't care what words will you be using for as long as it is accurate, okay? And of course, it is scientific in nature. So as you can see, okay, as you can see, you ate lipids. You ate your dietary lipids, okay? You ate your dietary lipids. So it will form now your amphipathic lipids, your micelles within your intestine. Take note that the emulsification in your intestine is with the help of your bile, which if we're gonna trace back its origin, is actually a cholesterol, okay? So remember that your bile is actually precursor, your cholesterol is a precursor to your bile. So afterwards, that exogenous triglycerides will now be absorbed by our body. Okay, it will now be absorbed in your intestine and will be carried by your chylomicrons, which is now the exogenous pathway. Your chylomicrons will deliver it into your liver. Okay, it will deliver it to your liver, and in return, your chylomicrons it will be catabolized. Your chylomicrons will be broken down into becoming its chylomicron remnants with the help of your LPL. What is LPL? Once again, ladies and gentlemen, LPL is lipoprotein lipase. Okay? Your lipoprotein lipase. Afterwards, your triglycerides now will be on your liver for storage. Okay? It will be on your liver for storage or in your adipose tissues. Okay? In your adipose tissue. So what will happen next? Okay? What will happen next is that if needed by the body, okay, if needed by the body, your liver now will start to synthesize your triglyceride. So, remember that on this part, the triglyceride carried by your chylomicrons are also broken down into its simpler form, which are your three fatty acids and glycerol with the help of your LPL still. So, what happened is that it will now be delivered, okay? It will now be delivered everything into your, they will all be delivered now into your liver. So, kung saan sila ma-store, okay? Kung saan sila ma-store. So, afterwards, your liver now will start to synthesize your endogenous triglyceride, okay? It will now synthesize your endogenous triglyceride. And what will carry it is actually your, what? What will carry it is actually your VLDL, okay? Your VLDL, remember, has a majority of the lipids it is carrying is your endogenous triglyceride. So with the help of your lipoprotein lipase, okay, your LPL, with the help of your lipoprotein lipase, your um VLDL will be converted to your LDL. So first IDL muna, VLDL remnant before it becomes now your LDL. Okay? Your LDL now will start to deliver cholesterol into different parts of the body. It can deliver cholesterol also in your liver, cholesterol into your cell for usage, and that in itself is called now your endogenous pathway. We all know, on the other hand, that there will be a lot, okay? There will be a lot of um, possibility na there are excess cholesterol in the peripheral tissue and even in the bloodstream. So who will do the cleaning, or who will do the cleaning up of those excess cholesterol? It is the job now of your HDL. Okay? So makikita nyo, it is the job of your HDL, and it is called your reverse cholesterol pathway. Okay? It is your reverse cholesterol pathway. How does your HDL, okay, how does your HDL remove? Okay? How does your HDL remove? It can either be through um interaction, okay, interaction with your LDL rather. So your LDL receptor, okay, with your LDL receptor, will transfer your cholesterol to your HDL through the help of your cholesterol ester transport protein, or your CETP. Your cholesterol ester transport protein will transfer the cholesterol in your LDL going to your HDL so that it can be returned back to your liver. Kasi nga, sobra na siya. On the other hand, it can also interact with your cell. So, your HDL mediate the removal of cholesterol from your cell that involves your ABCA1 receptor. Makikisulat po ako, your ABC1 receptor. Okay? Your ABCA1 receptor. So, remember, meron tayong A1 apolipoprotein A1 kay HDL. So, it will now react upon, okay, it will now interact with the ABCA1 receptor in the cell and will now start to collect excess cholesterol from the cell through the help of your LCAT. Again, what is LCAT once again? Your lecithin cholesterol acyltransferase. Okay? So, afterwards, okay, once that the cholesterol now are collected by your HDL, from its discoid shape, it will now start to become your what? It will now start to become a spherical HDL and it will now be delivered back to your liver. That is the entire pathway of your lipoprotein. Okay, another thing, okay, so hopefully clear tayo. I'll just show you another picture and try to explain it to you once again. So parang ganyan din ulit siya. Okay? So in your small intestine, ayan. So 1 and 2, okay, your chylomicron retention. Okay, so here, as you can see, yung association na ng disease. So gusto ko aralin ninyo itong diagram na to because you will now see where the disease are happening. Remember, guys, even in hematology, I'll keep going back sa hematology kasi very important yun sa hema, yung pathway natin that once an enzyme is deficient, the compound it is producing will be deficient and the substrate will increase or will be deposited. Parang ganun din parang ganun din tayo last time when we discussed the essential fructosuria, the glycogen storage disease in your carbohydrates. All of those are included because of the problem in their pathway. So as you can see here, if your chylomicrons we have a problem with your chylomicrons. Take for example, we have your ApoB48 defect. Okay, your chylomicron retention. What do you mean by chylomicron retention? Hindi na dadigest si chylomicron. So what will happen is that it will increase. It can actually cause your beta lipoproteinemia or your abeta lipoproteinemia. Okay, so these are the diseases. So I want you to take a look at this one and kuha ako ng isa pang example. So take for example for this one, you have your LDL. Your LDL can cause familiar hypercholesterolemia or your familiar defect ApoB. So meaning to say, they cannot perform their function very well kaya nade-deposit yung LDL. Not only in your what do you call this? Not only in your peripheral tissue but also in your liver. Okay? Also in your liver. Ayan. So, aside from that, this one as well, this will now involve your HDL on the other hand. So, we have your Tanger's disease, we have your LCAT deficiency, CETP deficiency. So, obviously, kapag walang LCAT deficiency, your HDL cannot collect kapag wala kang LCAT, they cannot collect the excess cholesterol from your cells. At the same, from the cells. At the same time, if you have CETP deficiency, you cannot collect the excess cholesterol from your LDL. So, hepatic lipase deficiency, nako malaking problema to. Of course, you all know the lipase, di ba? Kanina ko pa inuulit-ulit si lipase. So, without the lipase, it will also start to magde-deposit na yung triglycerides mo inside your liver. Okay? Further contributing to your fatty liver eventually. Okay? So, again, please review this for the association of the diseases. And before I move forward, with the disease, ayan, so as you can see here, this is how your cell, okay, this is how your cell take up now your cholesterol. So they have LDL cholesterol. So remember that this is your cell, okay, this is your cell, and then what happened is that your LDL will now come into contact with their LDL receptor para yang susi. So as you can see, once na nakadock na yung receptor ni LDL at saka yung LDL receptor ng cell, it will now be engulfed through the process of endocytosis. Okay? Endocytosis whereby it will now only, okay, it will now only take up your HLDL. So kung makikita ninyo, yung cholesterol natin ngayon dyan will now be used up, okay? Will now be used up in your cell, okay? Will now be used up by your cell. So here, it can be used up as a source of energy, okay? It can be used up as a source of energy, not as a source of energy rather. Again, hindi siya source of energy, hindi source of energy ang cholesterol. It will be used up now as components of your cell membrane and also of your steroid hormones and your bile acids. Okay? So, yan yung paggagamitan nila kay cholesterol. So, remember, kung makikita nyo dito, oversupply of cholesterol will inhibit your DNA, okay? Will inhibit your DNA DNA replication. It can also disrupt your HMG-CoA reductase. Okay, it can also disrupt it can also disrupt your HMG-CoA reductase. Sir, bakit po ini-stop? Kasi nga oversupply na sa cholesterol, so kailangan na tumigil ni HMG-CoA reductase. Again, saan natin nakita si HMG-CoA reductase? That is the enzyme that is being inhibited by your statins, okay, or yung mga medication natin for cholesterol. Okay? So, moving forward now, moving forward. So, let's talk about lipoprotein lipid and lipoprotein distribution. So, we have here for women, okay? For women, they have on average, they have higher HDL cholesterol levels, but lower total cholesterol and triglycerides than men. Meaning to say, mas mataas yung cholesterol ng mga lalaki kumpara sa babae. Sir, bakit po ganon? Because they have high HDL. The women has high HDL. In particular, they have high HDL because of their estrogen. Okay? It is because of their estrogen. Your estrogen promotes the increase of your HDL. Makikisulat po ako dyan kasi napaka-importante po niyan. But, okay, after menopausal, okay, when your women already reach menopausal period, they will start now to the production of estrogen will also start to decrease. Ergo, their cholesterol naman will start to increase. Kaya it's bad for their health as well. Kaya kung mapapansin ninyo, this also explain why life expectancy with men and women are different, okay? Are different because by nature, okay, cholesterol, which is a very increased cholesterol in a person, specifically seen in your men, are actually one of the most leading causes of death in men, specifically your atherosclerosis, okay? So after menopause, there will be no difference na in the total cholesterol. Meaning to say, yung cholesterol level ng babae at lalaki, magkatulad na lang. Okay? So total and LDL cholesterol and triglyceride level will increase in age in both men and women. So as you age, it will increase. Okay? So total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol and triglyceride are much lower naman in young children than in your adults. Okay? In puberty, boys, HDL cholesterol drops 20% to adult male levels, but girls does not change. Again, that is because of your estrogen. Remember that during puberty, dun pa lalong tumataas si estrogen in your women. So, generally, there is a lower rate of LDL cholesterol and heart disease in Asians. So, this is not, of course, hindi na tayo sure ngayon because if you're gonna look at the top 5 deadly diseases in the Philippines, cardiovascular diseases is actually one. Okay? Cardiovascular diseases is actually one. So moving forward, let's try to end this discussion so that I'll be having my you will be having your time for for the Q&A. The first one is your atherosclerosis. Okay, so atherosclerosis is actually the leading cause of disease, leading cause of death in disability in the US. So it is caused by lipids in the form of your esterified cholesterol that are being deposited in your artery walls, resulting now into your fatty streaks. Okay, resulting now into your fatty streak. So I want to join. Okay, so I'll be joining the Google Meet, okay, in my other device so that I'll be able to share my screen para lang ma-explain ko sa inyo how that atherosclerosis happen in the body because the rest of the disease, easy na lang yon. Babasahin na lang natin yung definition niya. But I want to focus more on the on atherosclerosis. Okay. So can I see a raise of hands if everybody can see my screen right now? Okay, thank you so much. So let's start. Okay, let's start. So let's talk about atherosclerosis. Okay, atherosclerosis. So what happened during atherosclerosis? Atherosclerosis is the deposition now of your lipids into your blood vessels, specifically your arteries. Okay? Specifically your arteries. So, syempre, kapag lipid, okay, is deposited in the artery, okay, what will happen? The function of the artery will be disrupted. Okay? The function of the artery will be disrupted, which is to deliver oxygen into your blood, into your tissue. And if it is disrupted, what will happen is now MI, okay? Or your myocardial infarction. In layman's term, your heart attack, okay? Your myocardial infarction, okay? Infarction. Okay, myocardial infarction. So specifically, what happened? Okay, so magkwento muna tayo. Okay? To take for example, meron kang you eat lipids, okay? You eat increased amount of lipids. So gustong-gusto mo yung mga matatabang pagkain, okay? So in return, of course, moving to the pathway, 'di ba? Dadalhin yan ni chylomicrons mo. Okay, your chylomicrons will carry that. Of course, number one, absorb muna siya, and then your chylomicrons will carry it, and then your VLDL, okay, your VLDL, and then your LDL now, okay, will start to what? Your LDL in return will start to deliver that into your peripheral, okay? They will now start to deliver that in your peripheral tissue. In your peripheral tissue now, okay, in your peripheral tissue now, those LDL, okay, the LDL and the cholesterol will be deposited. Okay, if there is increased LDL, there is increased cholesterol. Okay, increased cholesterol. I don't know if you remember, but LDL has the capacity to actually transverse into your tissue, into your cells. So what will happen? Ito yung nangyayari, okay? Your LDL now will be oxidized. Okay? Your LDL will be oxidized. So yun yung kwento niyan. Your LDL will be oxidized, and then what will happen? Okay? What will happen to the LDL after oxidation? It will now elicit, okay? It will now elicit an immune response, okay? It will now elicit an immune response. So what will happen to that is that your macrophages, yung mga macrophage natin, will be called into the site. Take for example, nasa heart tayo. Okay? Nandito tayo sa heart. Yung mga macrophage natin will be migrating into that site. Anong gagawin nila? They will try now to eat up, okay? They will now try to eat up your excess LDL. Sir, di ba dapat trabaho yan ni HDL? Tama ka. Trabaho siya ni HDL. Pero in these cases, we have low HDL as well. Okay? People with high LDL are usually associated with low HDL as well. And in this case kasi, your LDL was oxidized. Okay? Na-oxidize siya. And because of that oxidation, an immune response once again is elicited. That is the reason why your macrophages will try to help, will try to rescue. But hindi nila your macrophages now, okay? Take for example, this is your macrophage. They will now engulf your LDL. Okay? They will now engulf your LDL. And remember, they will try to digest it. Okay? They will try to digest and destroy it. But little did they know that they are incapable of doing that. Hindi kaya ni macrophage na i-digest si lipoprotein, si low density lipoprotein. In return, what do? They will try to gather as many as LDL kasi akala nila that is what's helping your body. They will now try to carry as much LDL as they can, only to realize that they are now becoming your foam cell. Okay? Only to realize that they are now becoming your foam cell. So your foam cell are actually macrophages with increased amount of lipid in their cytoplasm. So nung una, akala nila they are trying to help, they are trying to save you from this oxidized LDL, but little did they know that they actually just cause things worse because this macrophages now will become your foam cell. And this foam cell, okay, this foam cell that we're talking about here, to take for example, here, okay, this foam cell, take for example, ito yung blood vessel natin, okay, this is your blood vessel. This foam cell will actually eventually accumulate on the lining of your artery. Wala namang problema, sir, manipis lang pala. Hindi. Over time, okay, over time, it will actually build up. It will actually build up. Later in time, it will build up, causing now what? Causing now the disruption of blood flow into your blood vessels. So yung mga dugo natin, hindi na makakadaan. At kapag dumating yung pagkakataon na na-over, at na talagang na-block na ng ating na-block na ng plaque, okay? Na-block na yung ating artery, okay? That is now the time when it will cause your myocardial infarction. Okay? It will now cause your myocardial infarction. So, to be honest, I will be sending you a video alongside with this on your TLC regarding the atherosclerosis. I just have to look for the video on you. It's actually on YouTube. It's my favorite video of atherosclerosis. So I used that when I had my reporting when I was in college. So let me try to look for it for you. Tapos, if a flash ko ngayon, i-mute ko yung audio. I'll try to explain it to you guys in the video. So, and I'll try to present once again. So, explain ko lang ng mabuti ito, no? So, it's already 15 minutes. So, I'll try to present it for you guys. Wait lang. So, I'll be sending na lang din atherosclerosis and arteriosclerosis is the same. Atherosclerosis, arteriosclerosis, both are the same. So, for the sake of visual aids, I hope you can see my screen right now. Ayan. So, this is atherosclerosis. As you can see, we will go into your blood vessels, specifically your coronary arteries. Okay? So, here, as you can see, nandito na tayo ngayon sa loob ng blood vessels ninyo. So, atherosclerosis, sabi nga natin, it actually blocks the blood flow. So, as you can see, we're gonna go to the different risk factors. I think hindi ko sure kung ito yung video na gustong-gusto kong example. Yan. Pero as you can see, ito siya. Okay? I will jump into that part where, para makita nyo yung kwento ko. Ayan, in your cell, these are your cells. And as you can see, um, let's go deeper. These are your LDL. Yung nakikita nyo dyan, these things that are small na nandyan sa loob ng cell, these are actually your LDL. Your LDL will actually oxidize, okay? They will actually oxidize. That will now elicit your immune response, okay? Because oxidation, as you all know, 'di ba, is not a normal response in the body. So what will happen is that your monocytes, okay, will migrate into your tissue, becoming now your macrophages. So they will try now to get into the site where everything is where there's a problem. So your macrophages now will try, ayan, at this very moment, he's trying to collect all the oxidized cholesterol, all the oxidized LDL into itself, but not realizing na naging foam cell lang siya. Eventually, it will form plaque. Ayan, it will now harden. And as you can see, that plaque inside your artery will start to also occlude the blood vessel. Okay? So kung makikita ninyo, patuloy lang yan as you don't change your diet, patuloy na mag-i-increase yung foam cell natin. And when that happens, your 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 cells now, as you can see, will try to block they will try now to block the blood vessel. So ito, this is your body's attempt to repair everything. Your body's attempt to cover up. Ayan, kung mapapansin nyo, they are trying to cover up the plaque, but in reality, what it is causing is actually the blockage already of your blood vessel. And when that time comes, ayan, na-block na yung ating na-block ng ating blood vessel, it can actually ayan, na-block na sila, 'di ba? Nakita niyo, hindi na nakakadaan yung oxygen. And eventually, if this happen, it will actually block your artery, and in worst case scenario, okay? In worst case scenario, they can even, okay? In worst case scenario, they can even cause the rupture of your artery. Okay? It can even cause the rupture of your artery. So, hopefully, medyo nakatulong yung video na yon, and for you guys to understand how atherosclerosis happen. Later, if you have question, I'll be gladly and entertaining them. So, let's go first to hyperlipoproteinemia. Okay? Hyperlipoproteinemia is the condition where there is an increased lipoprotein levels. So kapag increase yung lipoproteins, obviously increase din yung lahat ng lipids na dala-dala nila. So that is your cholesterol and your triglyceride. Or it can actually be combined na cholesterol and triglyceride, which I will be showing to you later on. Okay? Again, hyperlipoproteinemia. What do we mean by hyper? Can I see a raise of hands if you can still see my presentation? Just to confirm, baka nawala. Okay. Thank you so much. So hyperlipoproteinemia, okay, your hyperlipoproteinemia is a disease where there's an elevated lipoprotein levels, and at the same time, it can either be an increase in your cholesterol or hypercholesterolemia, or an increase in your triglyceride, known as your hypertriglyceridemia. Okay, so hypercholesterolemia. So let's start with hypercholesterolemia. So it is a lipid abnormality most closely linked to heart disease. Ayan. So again, bakit siya most likely for your heart disease? Remember, your cholesterol, hindi kasi siya na-use up as energy source. Okay? So hindi siya na-use up, hindi siya na-metabolize. So kung nasan siya, it can either only be stored kapag in excess sila. Okay? Especially in other organs kasi hindi naman siya napunta sa adrenal gland, sa liver, or sa ovaries, or sa testis for steroid hormone production. So, familial hypercholesterolemia, or FH, is a genetic abnormality predisposing people to elevated cholesterol level. So, kapag meron kang homozygotes, so meaning to say, what do you mean by homozygotes? Both your parents, okay, are carrier of this carrier of this genetic abnormality. So kapag both your parents, yun yung sabi natin, di ba, pag homozygotes, both your parents, your father and your mother has that abnormal genetic, has that genetic abnormality, you can have your first heart attack as na teenager ka pa lang. Okay? But what's most common is actually your heterozygote. Only one of your parent is the carrier of the genetic abnormality. Okay? So, familial hypercholesterolemia. This is also the reason why we are saying that heart attack, hypertension are genetically predisposed or namamana siya. Okay? So, hypertriglyceridemia, okay? Hypertriglyceridemia, elevated triglyceride as high as 200 to 500 milligrams per deciliter. Very high would be 500 milligrams per deciliter. So, this can be due to genetic abnormalities as well or hormonal abnormalities. Sir, what do you mean by hormonal abnormalities? Remember the question of Ms. Guevara last time with the cholesterol. So, cholesterol increases your triglyceride, and in return, triglyceride also induces the release or the activation of your cortisone becoming now your cortisol. Kaya, alam niyo siya, it's like a doom situation kasi yung cholesterol mo, pinapataas si trig mo, pinapataas din si chole mo. So in short, tumataas sila ng tumataas pareho. Okay? So that is an example of hormonal abnormalities for your hypertriglyceridemia. We also have your combined hyperlipoproteinemia. Your combined hyperlipoproteinemia is whereby both your cholesterol and your LDL is actually your cholesterol and your triglyceride rather are increased. Again, increased risk of coronary heart disease, and this can be seen in coronary and familial combined hyperlipoproteinemia and in familial beta lipoproteinemia. So, your lipoprotein A, again, your lipoprotein A, you're sinking VLDL, okay, you're sinking lipoprotein is imposing an increased risk for coronary heart disease, okay, and also cerebrovascular disease, which is eventually will proceed to stroke. Okay, guys, ganun yun, no? Kapag sa heart, nagkaroon ng blockage, we call that myocardial infarction, that is your heart attack. Pag it happened in your brain, okay, that is stroke, okay? Stroke naman siya. So, moving forward, your hypolipoproteinemia, okay, hypo, so meaning to say may something na mababa. At madalas, ang mababa pa is actually your alpha lipoprotein. So, kapag mababa si alpha lipoprotein mo, wala kang magko-collect ng excess cholesterol. But there also a case where there is a decrease in the beta lipoprotein or your LDL. Ayan. So, eventually, we have here now your hypo-alpha lipoproteinemia, which is an isolated decrease in circulating HDL, so less than 40 milligrams per deciliter. And alpha denotes the region kung saan HDL migrates during electrophoresis. So, hypo-alpha lipoproteinemia is associated with the several defects, often in genetic, most of which are linked to increased risk of premature coronary heart disease. So, premature CHD, dahil nga kapag wala kang HDL, okay, kapag wala kang HDL, it will now become, magkakaroon ka ng excess cholesterol and LDL in the bloodstream. Everyone, makikisulat lang ako, your HDL is also known as the indirect marker for atherosclerosis. Why do we call it indirect? Okay, indirect. Kasi ang direct marker talaga natin will be your LDL. But why am I saying na indirect si HDL? Because as HDL increases, kapag mataas ang HDL, lower chances of cardiovascular disease. But as your HDL decreases, kapag bumababa si HDL, more chances of you getting your what? More chances of you actually getting your cardiovascular disease. Okay? So on Friday, you will be answering the you will be answering your lab manual. And one of the question there will actually revolve around the Fredrickson classification. Okay. Sir, isang table na naman. Do we have to memorize this? Actually, yes. Okay. Actually, yes. So, kung makikita ninyo, what I want you to memorize here are only the LDL, VLDL, and chylomicron. Ito lang yung gusto kong i-memorize ninyo. In type 1, hyperchylomicronemia, obviously, sino mataas? Si chylomicron. Anong dala-dala ni chylomicron? Triglyceride. Madali lang i-memorize, di ba? Pag type 2 familial hypercholesterolemia, mataas daw si cholesterol. Sinong may dala kay cholesterol? Si LDL. So, kapag si LDL, mataas si cholesterol. May mixed defect daw. So, ibig sabihin, both your cholesterol and your triglyceride is increased. Sinong may dala-dala? Si chole at si trig mataas. Sinong may dala-dala? Si LDL tsaka si VLDL. Sir, bakit hindi kasama si chylomicron? Kasi we're talking about the endogenous triglyceride this time. Okay? So, this beta-lipoproteinemia daw. So, may problem sa beta-lipoprotein. So, makikita ninyo, may problem si beta-lipoprotein. What will happen? Well, now, your VLDL will increase. Okay? Si VLDL ang increase sa pagkakataon na to. So, bakit po pati si cholesterol increase? Di ba triglyceride lang dala ni VLDL? If you're gonna go to table -17, if you're gonna go to table 17-2, you would see there that VLDL also carries around 40% of cholesterol. So, hypertriglyceridemia, obviously, si triglyceride mataas, si VLDL yan. And in type 5, everything is increased except for your LDL. Okay? Except for your LDL. At kung makikita nyo dito, there are those that have high risk of high risk. And usually, the high risk are those with increased LDL. Those that have increased LDL. So, kung makikita mo, LDL is increased, high risk. LDL is increased, high risk. LDL is normal, wala siya, low risk. LDL is normal, low risk. Okay? So, that is the Fredrickson